YouTube, I already shot an intro for this video, but I wanted to give you guys a little insight into how my mind works and how my process of doing things works, or how things happen. I generally don't have a plan when I start doing something. I've told you guys this before, but when I edit my videos, I try to not make them too messy and try to make it so that it has a flow through or makes some sort of sense. Next, what you are going to see is the way this video started and then how it kind of swerves off extremely to one side, and that's generally how I do things. So enjoy the video. Hello YouTube and welcome to another video. It is Boxing Day of year 2020 and I am about to do a jet ski video about trying to find the center of gravity on my X2. Only here on the Joel Arsenault YouTube channel. So the reason why I'm going to do this is because I'm hoping to be able to figure out where the center of gravity is with the factory setup so that I can decide where to put the engine to get the best balance. What the plan is to put all of the factory stuff back into the jet ski and then put something underneath it and try to balance it on a very small point. Then what I will do is put the 1100 in and try to add as many pieces as I can. Obviously I can make a few changes along the way, like I could mount the battery in the front or I can move it to the back somewhere. I'm going to try to get it as close as possible to a factory center of gravity so that it handles basically the same. It's not going to handle the same with an 1100, is it? Shout out to Zach for pointing out that there was another set of bolt holes I could use. He's actually building a 900 triple swap on an X2 and he has a thread over on PWC today. So go check that out and leave him a comment. Check out his thread. He's got some pretty cool parts going into his build. He pointed out that there was actually a separate set of holes that mounted up to the 650 bed plate. I had seen these holes in there and was kind of wondering what they were for. It didn't make any sense because they're really clean and they've obviously never had anything attached to them. So the way this engine came, it was attached at these 2 points, and then staggered set here. And yeah, so it's held on with 6 bolts from the factory. And this set here, for some reason, mounts perfectly with the 650 bed plate and puts the engine in a pretty good position. Don't know what they're there for. If anybody has any idea, let me know. Okay, so I would still need to cut out the footwell. I came ahead a little bit, but okie dokie. So it looks like I might be going with plan C, which is cutting off the water jackets on this pipe, because it doesn't fit well and I need some extra clearance, and I'm going to be running this pipe dry anyway. Maybe this video is going to be about removing a layer of ZXI exhaust. I'm not sure how I would go about doing this. I think probably with a cutoff disc. Everybody runs the pipe dry anyway. So let's just do it. A lot of people dry out the exhaust system on a ZXI 1100. They basically run a water injection into the stinger here and they run the rest of the pipe completely dry. You drill out the hole and put a plug in the inner hole, and then you plug the outer hole as well. I'm going to do away with all of that and basically just cut the outer skin or the water jacket off of the pipe. I've never seen anybody do this, never heard of anybody do this. So this could be the first time this is ever happening. Top tip, instead of using one of those stupid wrenches to get your grinding wheel off, push the lock, turn the disc. Way easier. Also, I know I should be running a guard, but I'm not. I got this Amazon Basics luggage scale and it came with a dead battery. And I just realized that I got a set of batteries for my girlfriend's car remote. And would you just look at that? It is the same battery. Her battery pack came with 2. And so I can pop this in here. And holy snap, 5.50 kilograms. 12.1 pounds. I feel like I should mention that I'm not delusional enough to think that this is going to peel off like an eggshell. I do realize that it's going to be connected in a few spots and it's going to have to be smashed off in some places. I'm going to try to go about it in a delicate way, but when force is required, force is what I will use. Try to get some pictures for the folks over at PWC today. Alright, I think I'm now going to cut a line along here. I'm assuming that the mount is connected not only to the outside, but I might be wrong. We're going to find out. Alright, I've cut through. It goes in deep enough that I think that I'm cutting into the chamber, but it's... "15 minutes in and time to take another picture for PWC today." It looks as though it might be attached in this area. Where should I go next? Go right around here. I'll have to come along here. There we go. Just had to let it fall over.
Still got a little bit to go. I'm just making sure that I'm not cutting into the chamber itself. I'm just cutting into the jacket. I think it's connected here. I am starting to cut into the chamber. Alright, I'm going to have to cut up this way. Try to break this piece off. Alright. This outer wall here should be connected in just a few little spots. I think it might be cast to the inner chamber through here. Oh. It's obviously connected in here at some point, so that's both good and bad. Good news because it means it's built fairly rugged. Bad news because it means I'm going to have to do more cutting. It does appear as though the mount is connected to the inner pipe, so that is good news. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut through this way and see if there's anything in there stopping me. I can see a connection there, it looks like. So what I'm going to do is cut along here now. First look at the inner chamber. Now from here I can see all the places where it's connected through. You can see it's connected right here and up here, so should be able to get the disc in there and cut the pieces off and work my way around doing that same thing. Yeah. no. Bad idea. Shit. Okay. Don't do that. Well, I should have known better. I pried on this and I broke a hole through, as you guys probably saw in the camera. Which way did this go? Wait, that went there, so yeah. That goes there. I pried this out and it was attached here and it broke. So I'll be able to weld that back in once I learn how to weld. I'll have to take a picture of this and post it so that if anybody else tries this, they don't do the same thing, hopefully. Yeah, take your time, don't pry on stuff, because if you do, you're gonna break it. My battery's almost dead, I gotta switch it out. I'm probably gonna do a bunch of cutting off camera because, well, it's just gonna be more of the same of this, but yeah, we'll see. A little bit of a good news, bad news situation. The good news is that I made a lot of progress on the pipe. The bad news is that the memory card filled up and I didn't notice until after I had kind of mostly polished the pipe off. It's not completely done yet, and I did break one hole in it. You guys probably heard me talking about that a little bit already. Fortunately, I've got a TIG welder and I'm gonna have to learn how to weld to fix that up. As you guys can see, this isn't completely done. I still need to touch up around the mount areas and around where this bolts on. The reason why I didn't tackle this, partly due to time and partly due to the fact that BJ has my Dremel with all my porting tools because he was doing some porting on one of his skis. And so I'm gonna get that back and do the fine touch-up work on this. And yeah. The next bit of good news is that I actually shaved 5.9 pounds off of this thing already. I still have a little bit to come off, but I'm also going to do some touch-up welds. So it's probably close to what you can expect by shaving the water jacket off of this thing. If I have to, I'll wrap this in some sort of heat wrap, but I'm guessing that I won't have to do that. The Kaufman pipe on the 650 is only single layer, and there's very little water injected into that. There is a little hole in the top of the pipe here. That's where the water normally gets injected in. Most people will drill, tap, and plug that. I was thinking about welding it. I think what I'm going to do at first is plug it, and if the outside of the exhaust gets too hot, then I'll inject a little bit of water in. I might actually not do it here. I might decide to do it in the whatever this thing is called, elbow B-pipe. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the same thing to that because I don't know if I want to risk that much heat. These aren't that expensive and there is a lot of weight to this. I'm going to weigh this. I'll come back and I'll weigh this. 5.2 pounds, 2.35 kilograms. This thing now weighs 6 pounds. So yeah, that is pretty good. That means I can probably cut the water jacket off of this and save another 2 pounds, maybe. But again, I don't know if I want to do that because there's probably going to be quite a bit of heat in that. Might be worth it to do that and then wrap it, but yeah, not sure. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but I'm pretty excited about this. It's actually the next day or a couple of days later. And today I received my angle plate, which is the part that I needed to do the boring on the 1100 cylinders. So in one of my last videos, I made the boring bar, and now I'm modifying my lathe
to fit the angle plate so that I can mount the cylinders so that I can bore out the cylinder in the 1100. Also, today I did some work on the 650 intake manifold for the supercharger. I was waiting for the angle plate to arrive, and it ended up showing up, so I stopped working on this and started on the 1100 project. Somewhere in between the other day and today, I did my first TIG welding. I think it was yesterday I did my first TIG welds, and I actually had quite a struggle trying to weld steel. I messed up several pieces of steel. I was trying to lay just straight beads without joining pieces together, and I was struggling with it quite a bit. I then decided to try to weld some aluminum, and I know these aren't welds to write home about, but for my first aluminum welds, I am quite pleased with that. I'll post some pictures here for you guys. Also, more exciting than just slapping those pieces of metal together, because I had some cast aluminum to play with off of the exhaust, I was thinking in my head there, have I showed those guys this video yet? I was worried that I was creating a spoiler alert. But anyway, I actually welded this piece of exhaust back together. Cast is supposed to be fairly hard to weld, and I didn't have any trouble with it whatsoever. It was quite easy. You can see I somewhat over penetrated here, but with the good news comes some bad news. My helmet started acting up. I have a Lincoln Auto Dark helmet, and a lot of people are trying to tell me that it's a sensitivity issue. I have the sensitivity adjusted all the way sensitive, and it's still doing it. Also, what makes me think it's not that is the fact that it worked fine for a while and then it started acting up. So there's no reason why it should, if it's a sensitivity issue, it should do it immediately and not based on time. Anyway, I got rid of my last helmet because it was doing that. I bought this one. I've only used this a few times. It was about $200 for that helmet, which isn't terribly expensive, but it's a considerable amount of money. So now I've got my first TIG welds done. I'm getting excited to build stuff, and now I might have to invest another $200 in a helmet. So, not good. Anyway, I'm not quite comfortable enough to start trying to patch this hole. I'm going to do some more testing on aluminum and patch up some holes. I'm going to create some holes in this stuff and patch it up so I make sure I don't mess the job up. As I've already briefly mentioned, I've been doing some work on the 650 trying to figure out the supercharger manifold. Turns out that it's quite complex once you actually try to figure out how everything's going to bolt together. Welding everything up is fine, but you have to actually be able to get your hands inside to bolt the supercharger on and mount the manifold to the engine. If you can't do that, it doesn't work very well. Also, there's belt routing and tensioning for the belt and all sorts of other things. So, I'm not sure how much of the building of the manifold out of cardboard I'm going to show because there was a lot of head scratching, but people were quite interested in that project. So yeah, I'm going to try to do more videos on that along with doing the 1100 videos. There's going to be some exciting stuff coming up, so stay tuned. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.